The clock strikes 12, I step into the haze. Whispers call me from 1,000 graves. Shadows dance in corners out of sight. I chase the unknown deep into the night. I hunt the fear you dare not face. In the darkness I embrace the trace. The dead, they speak their secrets shown. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown. A flicker, a chill, a shadowed hand. The unseen lingers where I stand. Through creaking doors and empty halls, I hear the echoes of forgotten calls. I hunt the fear you dare not face. In the darkness I embrace the trace. The dead, they speak their secrets shown. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown. And the unknown. Eyes that watch from a place unreal, a touch so cold it makes you feel they're near but hidden, veiled in shade. I walk with ghosts, I'm unafraid. I hunt the fear you dare not face. In the darkness I embrace the trace. The dead, they speak their secrets shown. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown.
It's showtime.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bizarre and the Unknown. Hey Bobby, I'm your host, E.D. Testerman. Little update, you guys caught William's show this morning. I was on the show working on my car. Come to find out it was my CV axle. My wheel bearings grenaded. So I couldn't get the part. It's bought. I just got to wait till tomorrow for it to get it. And I got somebody bringing it up to me. So I was like, oh man, I was sitting there fighting with it right after I got done talking to William. And I touched that hub and I went, uh-oh. And I moved it and I heard that grinding, felt that grinding, went, oh man. So yeah, I still got an interesting day ahead of me tomorrow. So luckily I'm off of work, but yeah. I'm still going to replace the CV axle. Still ain't working. Gosh dang it. I don't know why it's not working, man. I was kind of playing with it. I thought, hey, I guess I should test it. That's okay. We'll have to figure out what's going on. I'll have to play with it some more. But yeah, so we got that going on. So today we're going to talk about the Baba Yaga. You know, and most of you guys know who the Baba Yaga is. Some of you don't. In this episode, we're mainly focusing on the Slavic version. That's where the name Baba Yaga comes from. But I believe there's other variants of the Baba Yaga in other places. So we'll just have to, hey, we'll have to do another show on that with the other variants. I could be completely wrong on that, but some of the things throughout the world that you listen to their folklore and their mythology, some of the stuff does sound very similar to the Baba Yaga. So we'll take a look at that in another episode. This one here, we're going to focus mainly on the Slavic origins. And the Baba Yaga is prominent malfaceted figure in East Slavic folklore, often a grotesque witch living in a chicken-legged hut, yet sometimes a wise shamanic figure or mentor. Emerging from pre-Christian pagan traditions, she dates back centuries before her first written mention in 1755, symbolizing untamable feminine power, the dark forest, and nature's unpredictability. I have tried to find the actual original origins of the Baba Yaga because they talk about something similar to her before this even come. You got your suspense on before they called her Baba Yaga. So a lot of times, a lot of people are familiar with that term from. I love the movies, great movies, but John Wick. They call John Wick the Baba Yaga, the boogeyman, which in all honesty, that's not what the Baba Yaga is. Great storyline, cool ass nickname, but the Baba Yaga is not a boogeyman. Baba Yaga is something either supernatural or is a witch, and we'll kind of dive into this to see what we think when we get into it. So the roots, she stems from Slavic mythology, possibly rooted in pre-Christian pagan belief systems of, or even Finno Ugaric traditions, and that's the one I was trying to find because I was wanting to see how far back she actually goes. And hey, Jessica. So I am still going to have to try to look up this Finno Ugaric traditions because they talk about her as well. The name Baba translates to grandmother or old woman in many Slavic languages and is often used as a derogatory term for a foolish woman. Yaga is less certain, with theories connecting into Slavic words for horror, shudder, anger, or disease. She is also very well known for being called grandmother of the woods. So you'll see that where that Baba plays in, grandmother. No, I'm not the boogeyman. John Wick is a fairy. The hut she lives in is a hut that spins on giant chicken legs, usually situated deep in the forest. Um, he's scary. uh, and that's one of the common things. You got a certain chant. What is it? Hut, hut, hut. Turn your gaze upon me. I think oh man, that's going to bug me. I got to look that up now. I used to know that chant. Now I can't remember what it is. I should have wrote that down. I guess if I was a good enough content creator, I would have wrote that down. Was it hut hut? Man, I used to know that. I can't believe I'm forgetting it. It's a very catchy chant, actually. Question. You come here. What is the chant, though? Okay, I found the question because it said sometimes it asks you the question. Sometimes it'll ask you, do you come here of your own free will or do you come by compulsion? I forgot about that. Yeah, that is one of them, but there is a chant and I'm trying to find it. Hey, Freaky. I can't remember what it is, but it's something similar to hut, hut, hut. Turn your gaze upon me, hut, hut, hut. Grant me entrance to see, or something like that. You come out honestly. I'm excited to learn about the Baba Yaga today. Never heard much about her. Yeah, she's very fascinating. I don't know why it's not giving me the chant that I'm looking for. I mean, I read about this a long, long, long time ago. Eric, have you heard that Baba Yaga could be a title, not a person? That's kind of what we're going to be diving into, Jonaside. We're going to see many aspects of this. Um, I'll have to look up the chant again later. I thought I could remember it, but apparently not. So her method of travel, rather than a broom, she is famously depicted flying through the air in a giant mortar, which is like a cauldron, a pot. Baba Yaga is like the village witch. Yeah. Hut, hut, ho, give me a show. Or village healer. She is depicted as that. But a giant mortar, like what the witches brew their, you picture witches brewing their potions in, like that. A bowl used for grinding. That's another way for it. Navigating with a pedestal and sweeping away her tracks with a silver birch broom that flows behind her. Um, she is neither woolly good or nor evil, but a boundary crosser who represents chaos. She may eat those who come to her forest, yet she also helps protagonists who show courage and kindness. And that's the two key things you need to understand about her. Um, she is depicted both as being very cruel, but very helpful too. The only time I've heard the words "hut hut" is in football. Yeah. Um, Scholars like Vladimir Prop saw her as a guardian of the threshold to the land of the dead, testing those who visit her realm. Um, some of the modern views on her is she is frequently interpreted in modern studies as a proto feminist icon, representing a woman of power, independence, and connection to the wild. Now, you see a lot of these entities nowadays, like we covered when we talked about Lilith. Lilith is pure evil. And don't get it wrong, Baba Yaga is evil too. But these women of evil, the feminist people are latching onto them, and I think it's because they don't understand who these things are. William and I have discussed this multiple times. Hey, Roger. Cauldron. Yeah, they call it a mortar, but yes, a cauldron is another name for it. Are there 107 episodes of the Baba Yaga I've not heard? I don't know. Um, and that's why I caution people that does this type of stuff. Be careful who you look up to, because these supernatural entities, a lot of these supernatural entities are not friendly. They are very, very evil. So when you're using Lilith or you're using the Baba Yaga as your symbol, you really got to question what their true motives are. Um, in other myths, she is sometimes viewed as a personification of a storm cloud or a forest deity, and she is often termed the bony one. Baba Yaga Castanya Noga, the bony one. First recorded mentionings, the first written mention in the is in Mikhail Lomnosov's Russian grammar in 1755, where she is listed alongside classic deities, marking her importance in the Russian culture. Legends and oral tales feature her were common in artwork and stories long before this. dating back to at the least the 17th century. Hey, Robin. So I mean, we see a very long history of her, and like we said in the beginning, she's pre-Christianity. Um, some history on her. Scholars trace her history through various stages of Slavic culture and religion. In what Christians call pagan origins, some researchers believe she was originally an ancient Slavic goddess or Tometic ancestor associated with nature, fertility, and the transition between life and death. And Christians, in Christian ways, with the spread of the Christianity, many deities were reinterpreted as evil spirits. Baba Yaga was demoted to a wicked witch to discourage people from following old folk traditions. This is something that we've seen quite often, very, very often, and a lot of stuff in our holidays, in our teachings of our history. When the Vatican came in and took over a lot of land, they changed the history, they changed the holidays, they changed the landscape, they changed everything so that people would worship. It'd be easier for them to worship the Vatican way instead of their old way. So is the Baba Yaga a victim of this? She's talked about pre-Christianity, but that does not mean that she wasn't transformed and she's actually something else. Um, Initiation architect. Folklorist Vladimir Prop suggests her role represents ancient initiation rituals. Her difficult tasks, such as sorting seeds or spinning yarn, served as a test for young people transitioning into adulthood or marriage. So you see her playing a role in this. I've got three famous stories here that they talk about the Baba Yaga. These are a little long, but I figured these were very important for us to understand who the Baba Yaga is. The first one comes from Valesa the Beautiful, is the name of the what do they spin seeds and yarn? They separate seeds and spin yarn. I'm going to put. You can look this story up yourself if you want to. I'm going to put it in the chat. This is a Russian. You can find the English version. That's what I had to do. And this is what we're getting ready to read. And I put these stories in here for a very good, very important reason. This is what they wrote about when it came to her. But Valesa the Beautiful is the name of the story. Perhaps the most famous story where a girl is sent to the witch's hut to fetch light after completing impossible tasks. Baba Yaga gives her a skull lantern that incinerates her cruel stepfamily. And this is a. Please forgive me. I fear scrap metal will cry out if I don't post this. Baba Yaga. Oh, yeah, Robin. So here's the story. A long time ago, there lived a merchant and his wife. They had one child, a girl called Vasilisa. One day, the mother placed a little troll in the child's hands and said, "My child, I am dying. Take this doll as my blessing. Always keep it with you and never show it to anybody. If anything bad happens to you, give the doll food and ask for her guidance." So we're seeing some type of magic played into this. Shortly after the mother died, the merchant soon became lonely and decided to marry again. He married a widow who thought would be a good mother, but both she and her two daughters were envious of Vasila's beauty. They gave her heavy outdoor work to do. She so she would grow thin and her face would turn ugly in the wind and the sun. Despite this, Vasilis became more beautiful every day. For each day, she gave her doll food and asked for advice. Having finished eating, the doll would help with the task and even bring Vasilis herbs to prevent sunburn. As the years passed, Vasilis grew even more beautiful as her stepmother's hatred of her intensified. Then, whilst Vasilis' father was away on business, her stepmother moved the family to the edge of the dense birch forest. This was not just any birch forest, for it was the forest lived a terrifying witch, Baba Yaga. Buddy, seriously, you got to go back outside right now. I literally just started this live, dude. You need to learn to hold it. A witch who ate people like others ate chicken. Every day, the stepmother sent Vasilis into the forest, but the girl always returned safe and sound with the guidance of her magical doll. Then one night, the stepmother crept around the house and extinguished all the candles. As the last candle failed, she said in a loud voice, "It's impossible to finish our work in the darkness. Somebody must go to the Baba Yaga and ask for light." Uh, I am not going," said the first stepdaughter, who was stitching lace. "I can see my needle." "And I am not going," said the second stepdaughter, who was knitting stockings. "I can see my needle." Guys, forgive me. I'm sorry. He's not going to let me be. Hold on. Dude, you need to chill. We'll see if Yessie can let him out. Yeah, I'm seeing if Yessie can do it. Hang on, bub. I mean, you bad timing, dude. I literally just had you outside like 30 minutes ago. You little pain in the butt. Um, so Vasilis was thrown out into the forbidden forest. Despite her fear, she fed her magic doll and asked for its advice. "Do not be afraid, Vasilis," said the doll. "Go to Baba Yaga and ask her to give you a light." Yeah, left the puppy outside. Yeah, yeah, no kidding, freaky. Yeah, I'm going to have to, but I literally just had him outside 30 minutes ago. He just came back in. All that night, Vasilis walked nervously through the forest, holding the doll who guided her path. Then suddenly she saw a horseman rushing by. His face and clothes were white, and he was riding a white horse. As he passed, the first light of dawn appeared across the sky. Hold on. Hey guys, give me a second. She's not answering. I'm gonna let him out. Give me a second. Dude, you need to learn to hold it. All right, sorry about that, guys. Um, let's see the white horse. Then another horseman came by. His face and clothes were red, and he was riding a red horse. As he passed, the sun began to rise. Yeah, no, yeah, I was bored. He was being a pain. Um, then another horseman came by. His face and clothes. Or wait, I read that one. And he's passed. Vasilis had never seen such strange men, and she was very surprised. She walked all day until the last she came to Baba Yaga's hut, which stood forbidden on its large chicken legs. Foreboding. No, it said forbidding on its. Okay, never mind. I was right. Forbidding on its large chicken legs. A fence made of human bones surrounded the hut. It was crowned with human skulls. The gate had a sharp set of teeth that served as a lock. Vasilis was terribly afraid. Suddenly, another horseman galloped by. His face and clothes were black, and he was riding a black horse. He rode through the gates and disappeared as he passed. Night descended. As the sky darkened, the eyes of the skulls began to glow. Their light illuminated the forest. Vasilis trembled. She wanted to run, but her legs would not move. Almost immediately, she heard a hideous noise. The earth shook and the trees groaned, and there was Baba Yaga riding in her mortar. She stopped and sniffed the air. I smell a human, she cried. Who is here? Vasilis stepped forward, trembling and with fear. She said, I am Vasilis. My stepmother sent me to you to ask for a light. I know her, Baba Yaga replied. Stay with me for a while. If you work well, I will give you the light. If you do not, I will cook you and eat you. Baba Yaga commanded the gates to open and rode in. Vasilis followed, and the gates closed fast behind her. As they entered the hut, Baba Yaga ordered Vasilis to bring her what was on the stove. There was enough food to feed them 10 men. Then from the cupboard she collected kvass, a drink made from fermented rye flour, is what that is. Hey, Tanya. Took me. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Where was my spot there? The kvass is a drink made from fermented rye flour. It's a mead. A drink made from fermented mead is a drink made from fermented honey. Beer and wine. See, there was enough food to feed 10 men. Then from the cupboard, she collected kvass and mead and beer and wine. Baba Yaga ate and drank everything. She left Vasilis nothing but a crust of bread. I am tired, Baba Yaga said. Tomorrow, Vasilis, you must clean the yard, sweep the hut, cook the supper, and wash the linen. Then you must go to the corn bin and buy seed separate the mildewed corn from the good corn, and mind that you remove all the black bits. If you do not complete this task, I will eat you. Soon Baba Yaga started snoring. Her long nose rattled against the roof of the hut. Vasila took her doll out of her pocket, gave it a crust of bread, and said, Please help me. Baba Yaga has given me an impossible task to do, and if I fail, she will eat me. The doll replied, Do not be afraid, Vasila. Eat your supper and go to bed. Mornings are wiser than evenings. Although Vasilis woke early the next morning, Baba Yaga was already up. Vasilis went to the corn bin and found the doll picking out the black bits. The other tasks were also fulfilled. You're pretty well fermented, ain't you, William? um, Vasilis, with the help of her doll, finished the task. In the evening, the old woman came back and checked everything over. 3 pairs of hands appeared. They took the bin of poppy seeds and vanished. Um, Baba Yaga sat down to eat. Why do you sit there so quiet and still? Asked Vasila. I am afraid to speak, said Vasila. Oh, she asked Vasilla. I am afraid to speak, said Vasilla. Would you mind if I asked you some questions? Ask if you want, said Baba Yaga, but remember that not every question has a good answer. Marcellus hesitated and then spoke. On my way here, I saw a white horseman. Who was he? That was my bright day, answered Baba Yaga. Marcellus continued. Then I saw a red horseman. Who was he? That was my red sun, answered Baba Yaga. And then the black horseman overtook me whilst I was standing outside your gate. Who was he? That was my black knight, answered Baba Yaga. These horsemen are my faithful servants. Have you any further questions? Marcellus remembered the three pairs of hands, but remained quiet. Now I have a question for you. How have you managed to carry out all of the work so quickly? Marcellus replied, My mother's blessing helped me. um, I help me. I knew it, said Baba Yaga. You better be gone. I will not have people with blessings in my home. With that, the old woman pushed Vasillus out of the hut and through the gate. Then she took one of the skulls, stuck it on the end of a stick, and gave it to the girl, saying, here's a light for your stepmother and her stepdaughters. That's what you came here for, isn't it? She walked away, and by the evening she reached her home. As she approached the gates, she was about to throw the skull away, but suddenly she heard a muffled voice say, You must keep me. Your stepmother and stepdaughters have need of me. That took a long time. A girl carried the skull into the house. As she entered, the skull fixed its eyes on the stepmother and her two stepdaughters. Its eyes burnt them like fire. They tried to hide, but the piercing eyes followed them and never let them out of their sight. By morning, nothing was left of the three women except for 3 heaps of ash on the floor. Marcellus was unharmed. She buried the skull in the garden and went to find her shelter in the nearest town. Here she lodged with an old woman. One day, the old woman gave Vasillus some flax. With it, Vasillus spun the most beautiful thread, so fine it was like her hair. Then she weaved the thread into the most exquisite cloth. It was brilliantly white, soft, and so beautiful. Vasillus gave it to the old woman and said, Grandmother, you have been so kind to me. Sell this cloth and keep the money. The old woman looked at it and said, My child, this is too fine to sell. I'm going to take it to the Tazir. All right, William. Hey, everybody, keep Jacob in your prayers. He's having some issues. So she brought this to the Tsar as a gift. The Tsar thanked the old woman and gave her many presents before sending her home. Impressed with the beautiful cloth, the Tsar tried to find someone who could make a shirt from it. However, all the tailors declined to work, as the cloth was too fine for them to handle. In the end, the Tsar called the old woman and said, You must also know how to sew the cloth as you made it. The old woman replied, No, your majesty. It was not my work. It was done by a girl I took in. So the Tsar asked the old woman to see if Vasillus would make the garments. Vasillus made the shirt, and the old woman took them to the Tsar. As she waited for the old woman to return, one of the Tsar's servants entered. He said loudly, His Majesty wishes to see the needlewoman who made his wonderful clothes. So Vasillus went to the palace. Vasillus and the Tsar were captivated by each other, and eventually they married. When Vasilis' father returned, they invited both him and the old woman to come and live at the palace. Also, at the palace. Also at the palace was the little doll. Vasilis carried it around in her pocket until the day she died. So what did you guys get out of that story? That was one of the original stories of the Baba Yaga. You can see how a lot of stuff plays into this, how things were written pre-Christianity. And you see where the task and stuff come into play with this as well. You know, you had she wanted to eat Vasilis, so it gave her some impossible tasks, but she was able to do it. Don't ask it's or like to get burned. You get burned to ashes. Yeah, yeah, freaky. Yeah, the stepmother. You know, where's the stepmother and two evil stepsisters sound familiar too? By the way, and it also has a witch in it too. You know, stepdaughters. You know, the daughter's mother passed. The dad remarries. Yeah, he remarries a woman that hates her, and her stepdaughters hate her, and she's always sent to work, never allowed to be seen until one fateful night when her fairy godmother came and made a pumpkin and stuff like that. Cinderella. That story is very similar to Cinderella. That spelling. So makes you wonder if this stuff wasn't based off these old tales. That was very very similar to the stepmother the witch. Yeah, very very similar to stuff like we grew up on with Cinderella. This next one's called the Frog Princess. Baba Yaga appears in a donor appears as a donor, a figure providing the hero with advice and magical items to find his lost wife. So this one here is you Cinderella, Cinderella. Yep. Um, there are several stories with remarrying parents and witches. Yeah, there is. There actually is, and that one's really close to Cinderella. Um, this is the one where Baba Yaga is depicted as a helper, and it goes like this: In days gone by, there was a king who had 3 sons. When his sons came of age, the king called them to him and said, "My dear lads, I want you to get married so that I may see your little ones, my grandchildren, before I die." And his sons replied, "Very well, father, give us your blessing. Who do you want us to marry? Each of you must take an arrow, go out into the green meadow, and shoot it. Where the arrow falls, there shall be your destiny." So the sons bowed their heads, bowed to their father, and each of them took an arrow and went out into the green meadow, where they drew their bows and let fly their arrows. The arrow of the eldest son flew into the courtyard of the nobleman, and the nobleman's daughter picked it up. The arrow of the middle son fell into the yard of a merchant, and the merchant's daughter picked it up. But the arrow of the youngest son, Prince Ivan, flew up and away. He flew not. He flew. It flew not nowhere. He walked on in search of it, and at last he came to a marsh where what should be but a frog sitting on a leaf with the arrow in its mouth. Prince Ivan said to it, "Frog, frog, give me back my arrow." And the frog replied, "Marry me." "How can I marry a frog?" "Marry me, for it is your destiny." Prince Ivan was sadly disappointed, but what could he do? He picked up the frog and brought it home. The king celebrated 3 weddings. His eldest son was married to the nobleman's daughter. His middle son was married to the merchant's daughter, and the poor Prince Ivan to a frog. One day the king called his sons and said, I want to see which of your wives is most skilled with her needle. Let them each sew me a shirt by tomorrow morning. The sons bowed to their father and went out. Prince Ivan went home and sat in a corner, looking sad, very sad. The frog hopped about on the floor and said to him, "Why are you sad, Prince Ivan? Are you in trouble?" My father wants you to sew him a shirt by tomorrow morning," said the frog. Said Prince Ivan. I oops, I messed it up. Sorry. By tomorrow morning, said Prince Ivan. Don't be downhearted, Prince Ivan. Go to bed. Night is the mother of counsel," said the frog. So Prince Ivan went to bed, and the frog hopped out on the to the doorstep, cast off her frog skin, and turned into Vasilis the wise, a maiden fair beyond compare. She clapped her hands and cried, "Maids and nurses, get ready, work steady. By tomorrow morning, sew me a shirt like the one my own father used to wear." We're seeing a familiar character here, ain't we? When Prince Ivan awoke the next morning, the frog was hopping about on the floor again, and on the table, wrapped in a linen towel, the shirt lay. Prince Ivan was delighted. He picked up the shirt and took it to his father. He found that the king receiving gifts from his sons, when the eldest laid out his shirt, the king said, "This shirt will do for one of my servants." When the middle son laid out his shirt, the king said, "This one is good only for the bathhouse." When Prince Ivan laid out his shirt, handsomely embroidered in gold and silver, the king took one look at it and said, "Now this is the shirt indeed. I shall wear it on the best of occasions." Hey, Corey. The elder two brothers went home and said to each other, "It looks as though that we had laughed at Prince Ivan's wife for nothing. It seems she is not a frog, but a sorceress." Again, the king called his sons. "Let your wives make me bread by tomorrow morning," he said. "I want to know which one cooks the best." Uh, Prince Ivan came home looking very sad again. The frog said to him, "Why are you sad, Prince?" "The king wants you to bake bread for him by tomorrow morning," he uh, replied her husband. "Don't be downhearted, Prince Ivan. Go to bed. Night is the mother of counsel." Now those other daughter-in-laws had made fun of the frog at first, but this time they sent an old hen wife to see how the frog baked her bread. But the frog was cunning and guessed what they were about. She kneaded the dough, broke the top of the stove, and emptied the dough into the straight down the hole. The old hen wife ran back to the other wives and told them what she had seen, and they did as the frog had done. Then the frog hopped out onto the doorstep, turned into Vasilis the wise, and clapped her hands and cried, "Maids and nurses, get ready, work steady. By tomorrow morning, bake me a soft white loaf like the ones I ate when I lived at home." Prince Ivan woke up in the morning, and there on the table he saw a loaf of bread with all kinds of pretty designs on it. On the sides were quaint figures of royal cities with walls and gates. Prince Ivan was ever so pleased. He wrapped the loaf up in a linen towel and took it to his father. Just then, the king was receiving the loaves from his elder sons. Their wives had dropped the dough into the fire as the old hen wife had told them, and it came out just a lump of charred dough. The king took the loaf from his eldest son and looked at it and sent it to the servants' hall. He took the loaf from the middle son and he did the same with that. But when Prince Ivan handed him his loaf to the king, now that is what I call bread. It is fit to be eaten only on holidays. And the king bade his sons come to his feast the next day and bring their wives with them. Prince Ivan came home grieving again. The frog hopped up and said, "Why are you so sad, Prince Ivan? Has your father anything unkind to you, or said anything unkind to you?" "Froggy, my frog, how can I help being sad? Father wants me to bring you to his feast, but how can you appear before my people as my wife?" "Don't be downhearted, Prince Ivan," said the frog. "Go to the feast alone, and I will come later. When you hear a knocking and a banging, do not be afraid. If you are asked, say it's only your froggy riding in the box." All right, Corey. So Prince Ivan went to by himself. His elder brother drove up with their wives, and rugged and powdered and dressed in fine clothes. They stood there and mocked the Prince Ivan. "Why did you not bring your wife? You could have brought her in a handkerchief. Where indeed did you find such a beauty? You must have searched all the marshes for her." The king and his sons and daughter-in-laws all the guests sat down to feast at the oaken table, covered with the handsome cloths. All at once there was a knocking and a banging that made the whole palace shake. The guests jumped up in fright, but Prince Ivan said, "Do not be afraid, good people. It is only my froggy riding in her box." Just then a gilded carriage drawn by 6 white horses dashed up to the palace door, and out of it stepped Vasilis the Wise in a dress of sky blue silk, strewn with stars and a shining moon upon her head, a maiden as fair as the sky at dawn, the finest maiden ever born. She took Prince Ivan by the hand and led him to the oaken tables with the handsome cloths on them. Hey, Jason, the guests the guests began to eat, drink, and make merry. Vasilis the Wise drank from her glass and emptied the dregs into her left sleeve. Then she ate some swan meat and put the bones in her right sleeve. The wives of the elder princesses saw her do this, and they did the same. When the eating and drinking were over, the time came for dancing. Vasilis the Wise took Prince Ivan and tripped off with him. She whirled and danced, and everybody watched and marveled. She waved her left sleeve, and a lake appeared. She waved her right sleeve, and white swans began to swim in the lake. The king and his guests were struck with wonder. Then the other daughter-in-laws went to the dance. They waved one sleeve, but only splashed wine over the guest. They waved the other, but only scattered bones, and one bone hit the king right in the forehead. The king flew into a rage and drove both daughter-in-laws away. Meanwhile, Prince Ivan slipped out and ran home. There he found the frog skin and threw it into the fire. When Vasilis the Wise came home, she looked for the frog skin, but could not find it. She sat down on a bench, sorely grieved, and said, "Prince Ivan, ah, Prince Ivan, what have you done? Had you but waited 3 more days, I would have been yours forever. But now, farewell. Seek me beyond the trace 9 lands, in the trace 10 kingdoms, where Koski the Deathless dwells." Say nothing. Vasilis the Wise turned herself into a gray cuckoo and flew out of the window. Prince Ivan wept long and hard. then bowed in all four directions and went forth. He knew not where to seek his wife, Basella the wise. How long he walked and how is hard to say, but in his boots wore down to heels, his tunic worn out at the elbows, and his cap became battered by rain. By and by, he met a little man. Yeah, a little man as old can be. Good day, my lad, said the little old man. Where are you going, and what is your errand? They're not evil. Hey, Bravo. Let me get to your comments here. Take a break from reading for a second. Riding a crescent moon. Hell yeah. Hey, Jason. Hey, Brandon. Yeah, we're on the second story about the Baba Yaga. We're getting kind of a background on the Baba Yaga. Prince Ivan told him about his trouble. Ah, why did you burn the frog skin, Prince Ivan? Said the little old man. It was not yours to keep nor do away with. Bacillus the wise was born wiser than her father, and that made him so angry that he turned her into a frog for 3 years. Ah, well, it cannot be helped now. Take this ball of yarn and follow it without fear wherever it rolls. They do. Some supernatural entities do come from mythology. Mythology and folklore is often based off of supernatural stuff. Prince Ivan thanked the little old man and followed the ball of yarn. It rolled on and he came after it. In an open field, he met a bear. Prince Ivan took aim and was about to kill it, but the bear spoke in a human voice. Do not kill me, Prince Ivan, for you may have need of me someday. Prince Ivan spared the bear's life and went on further. Suddenly, he saw a dark flying, a dark, yeah, he saw a drake flying overhead. He took aim with his bow, but the drake said in a human voice, "Do not kill me, Prince Ivan, for you may have need of me someday." He spared the drake and went on. A hare came running by. Again, Prince Ivan snatched his bow to shoot it, but the hare said in a human voice, "Do not kill me, Prince Ivan, for you may have need of me someday." So he spared the hare and went on. He came to the blue sea and saw a pike lying on the sandy beach, gasping for breath. "Ah, Prince Ivan," said the pike, "take pity on me and throw me back into the blue sea." So he threw the pike into the sea and walked along the shore. By and by, the ball of yarn rolled in the forest, and there stood a little hut on a hen's feet, turning around and round. Little hut, turn your back to the trees and your fence to me, please. That's what it was. By God, that was the rhyme or the chant I was thinking of. Uh, that was it. My gosh, I did have it in here after all. Little hut, turn your back to the trees and your face to me, please. That was the chant I was trying to remember earlier. The hut turned its face to him and its back to the trees. Prince Ivan walked in, and there, sitting in the corner, was Baba Yaga, the witch with a broom and a switch, a bony hag with a nose like a snag. When she saw him, she said, "Ugh, ugh, Russian blood, never met by me before. Now I smell it in my door. Who comes here? From where from? Where to?" The passings of the season. Good. Hey, good on you, Bravo. Um, you might give me meat and drink and a stem bath before asking questions, retorted Prince Ivan. So Baba Yaga gave him a steam bath. gave him meat and drink, and put him to bed. Then Prince Ivan told her he was seeking his wife, Vasilis the Wise. I know, said Baba Yaga. Your wife is now in the power of Koschei the Deathless. It will be hard for you to get her back, because Koschei is more than a match for you. His death is at a point of a needle. The needle is in an egg. The egg is in a duck. The duck is in a hare. The hare is in a stone cast. Stone cast. The cast is in the top of a tall oak tree. That Koschei the Deathless guards as the apple of his eye. Oh heck yeah, Brandon! Did you catch anything? Prince Ivan spent the night at Baba Yaga's, and in the morning she showed him the way to the tall oak. How long he walked, it is hard to say, but by and by he came to the oak tree, with the stone cast at the top of it, but it was hard to reach. Suddenly up came the bear, whose life he had spared, and pulled the tree roots out, roots and all. Or pulled the tree out, roots and all. Down fell the casket and broke open. Out of the casket sprang a hare, and scampered off as fast as it could. The other hare, whose life Prince Ivan had spared, gave chase, caught it, and tore it to bits. Out of the dead hare flew a duck, and shot high into the sky. But in a twinkling, or in a twinkling, the drake, whose life Prince Ivan had spared, was at it. The duck dropped an egg, and down it fell into the blue sea. At this, Prince Ivan wept bitter tears. How could he find the egg in the sea? But all at once, the pike, whose life Prince Ivan had spared, swam up with the egg in its mouth, and Prince Ivan broke the egg, took the needle out, and set about breaking the point off. The more he bent it, the more Koschei, the Deathless, whirled and screamed, but all in vain. Prince Ivan broke off the point of the needle, and Koschei found dead. Fell down dead. Gone. Prince Ivan went to Koschei's white stone palace. Vasilis the Wise came running out to meet him and kissed him deeply. And Prince Ivan and Vasilis the Wise went back to their home and lived in peace and happiness to the ripe old age. 4 largemouth, about 2 to 3 pounds. 2 small mouth, little guys, but good day. Heck yeah, good job, man. So you can see in this one here, this story here about the Baba Yaga, she was a helper in this one here. But we have a reoccurring figure tied to the Baba Yaga, and that's Vasilis. You remember from the first story, let me get back to it. Vasilis the Beautiful was the first story. Now, in this one here, the Frog Prince, or the Frog Princess, sorry, Vasilis is a frog. She had been cursed. But you got magic played in both of these, and Baba Yaga is a part. In the first one, Baba Yaga wanted to eat her, as her, evil stepmother and stepsisters cast her out to Baba Yaga to be fed upon. And that magic doll is what saved her. Now you got here where she is married to a prince. I'm guessing the king had died. She had originally married, and he had to seek the help from Baba Yaga. And Baba Yaga gave him everything he needed, knowledge wise, to complete this task. And something magic was used to guide him to his task. Freaky. You know, and so this is a very common occurrence you're seeing with the Baba Yaga. What do you guys think so far? Hearing about these stories of her and where her lure came from. And just like the other two, I'm going to this last story about the Baba Yaga. I'm putting it in the chat so you guys can look it up later and read it yourself if you want. Only when I tell my brothers what I caught. So, I mean, both these stories have both the elements that they talk about, with her being a cannibal, evil witch, and someone that's helpful, you know. Although she wasn't pleasant, she was helpful in the second story. This last one, the Baba Yaga and the kind-hearted girl. This is going to be another good story, and this, I believe, this has, if I remember correctly, has a little bit of both of her personalities in it. This is, I believe, she's more depicted as the grandmother of the woods. Oh, top of the hour. Thank you. Good timing too. Let's do some Dark Angel Medical. Here we go.
He comes quiet, cold of crows, bread like winter in your nose. Foot of the bed, then polite, asking softly for your light.
You stare holes into the wall, hands like paper, helpless small. Every clock hand starts to shake. How much mercy can you take?
Call dark angel medical, call him fast. In the shadows at your shoulder when you're fading black. When his fingers find your heartbeat, digging for control. There's a number in the silence, there's a lifeline for your soul. Call dark angel, call dark angel. She come running down the stairs, folder full of worn out prayers. He's already in the chair, death just smirks and combs his hair.
Sign here, death says it's routine. Ink like rivers, cold and mean. Then the nurse kicks in the door, boots like thunder on the floor.
Call dark angel medical, call him fast. When the shadows at your shoulder, when you're fading black. When his fingers find your heartbeat, digging for control. There's a number in the silence, there's a lifeline for your soul.
You don't own me, you don't get the last word.
We've stitched by worse than you, you're just another curse.
Take your contracts, take your claws, take your empty little scroll.
We've got angels in lab coats, guarding every fragile soul. Yeah. Call dark angel, call dark angel, call dark angel, call dark angel. Call dark angel medical, call him fast. When he's licking at your laughter, try and drag you back. When his whisper fills the hallway, hungry for control. There's a promise in the panic, there's a hand to hold your soul. Call dark angel, call dark angel.
If you're looking for the best first aid kits and trauma kits on the market, look no further to Dark Angel Medical. His kits are the absolute very best. That's why I carry him. That's why I promote his show. I do not get a dime for promoting his product. That's how much I like his product. I have 3 of his kits. I have his one kit I got on my field pack, and I've got 2 headrest kits. One in my personal vehicle, one in my company truck. That's how much I trust Dark Angel Medical. Kerry Pocket Doc Davis is the godfather of kit for life. If you use that kit to save a life and you let him know, he replaces what you use absolutely free. You cannot do anything better than that. You pay for what you get. I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat it. These kits ain't cheap. They have the absolute very best stuff that you can get for a first aid kit and a trauma kit. You can use FSA, HSA, like credit card or Sezzle to buy these kits. 2 of these kits I use Sezzle. The last one I used my HSA on. If you use the DA's code, was it Cryptid 20, you get 20% off on your purchase. You go to YouTube and look up Dark Angel Medical, or you go to Instagram and look up Dark Angel Medical. Kerry Pocket Doc Davis puts on little videos there showing you how to perform first aid in trauma treatments for all different types of wounds. If you need certification, he is a certified instructor. He can come either certify you or recertify you. So you have that option as well. So if you guys are looking for certification, recertification, or the best trauma kits or first aid kits on the market, please go to Dark Angel Medical. Let him know that I said howdy doody. All right. Yeah, Gary was a Air Force corpsman, so he's been in the medical field for a long time, and he is the owner. It's a veteran-owned, a veteran-ran company. So what did you guys think about the first 2 stories about her? About the Baba Yaga? You get kind of a feel for what she's like. There it is. Looking for my tea. So this is why I find her interesting, because people do see. I mean, like you guys were saying in the comment, and like I said earlier, people see her in a different light. But you can see where she's got ties in a lot of other stuff too, in different cultures, not just in the Slavic culture, but in different cultures. You see that combination, that similarity there. So it makes you wonder: is there more than just one type of this, or is she known for everywhere else? Did you say looking for your teeth? Not yet. Doc is a great brother and friend. Absolutely, William. This next one, I put it in the comments before we did the commercial. Baba Yaga and the Kind-Hearted Girl. This is the last story that I'll read about her, and we got some more stuff to cover with her after this one. This should, by the time we're done, hopefully we'll have us close to that 2-hour mark. Hey, if you're missing your teeth, Roxanne, you may need to go to her. She might help you, or she might eat you. I mean, just to give you a fair warning. You're missing your teeth, you might have to go to Baba Yaga. Or just buy new ones. A girl escapes the witch by showing kindness to the witch's cat, dog, and gate, who then help her flee. This is kind of what this this is kind of what this story is based off of. And these are Slavic stories. All 3 of these stories come from the Slavic culture. You can hit me up later on. If I can remember, I'll put it in descriptions. I forgot to. I'll put these 3 stories. I'll give you these 3 stories. And you can go through and look them up yourself as well. Once upon a time, there was an old couple. The husband lost his wife and married again, but he had a daughter by the first marriage, a young girl, and she found no favor in the eyes of her evil stepmother, who used to beat her and considered how she could get her killed over outright, or had beat her and considered how she could get her killed outright. One day the father went away somewhere or other. So the stepmother said to the girl, "Go to your aunt, my sister, and ask her for a needle and thread to make you a shift." Now the aunt was Baba Yaga. Well, the girl was no fool. She went to the real aunt of hers and first and said to her, and she said, "Good morning, auntie." Yeah, missing chomp alert, code red. Word, word, word. Code. Do I got one of those on here? Yeah. Oh, come on, pop back up. Missing chompers, red alert. Maybe. Red alert, missing chompers. um, she went to her auntie and she said, "Good morning, auntie." "Good morning, my dear. What have you come here for?" "Mother has sent me to her sister to ask for a needle and thread and make her a shift." Then her aunt instructed her on what to do. "There is a birch tree there. Nice. Or there's a birch tree there, niece, which would hit you if in the eye if you must tie or hit you in the eye. You must tie a ribbon around it. There are doors which would creak and bang. You must pour oil on the hinges. There is a dog which would tear you in pieces. You must throw them the rolls. There is a cat which would scratch your eyes out. You must give it a piece of bacon." Third degree black belt. Um, so the girl went away and walked until she came to the place. There stood a hut, and in it sat weaving the Baba Yaga, the bony shanks. "Good morning, auntie," says the girls. "Good morning, my dear," replies Baba Yaga. "Mother has sent me to ask you for a needle and thread so that I make to make me a shift." "Very well. Sit down and weave a little in the meantime." So the girl sat down behind the loom, and Baba Yaga went outside and said to her servant maid, "Go and heat the bath and get my niece washed, and mind you look sharp after her. I want her for I want her I want to I want breakfast out of her." Well, the girl sat in such a fright that she was as much dead as alive. Presently, she spoke imploringly to the servant's maid, saying, "Kinswoman dear, do please wet the firewood instead of making it burn, and fetch the water for the bath in a sieve." And she made her a present of a handkerchief. The Baba Yaga waited a while. Then she came to the window and asked, "Are you weaving, niece? Are you weaving, my dear?" "Oh, yes, dear aunt, I am weaving." So the Baba Yaga went away again, and the girl gave the cat a piece of bacon and asked, "Is there no way of escaping from here?" Here's a comb for you and a towel," said the cat. "Take them and be off. The Baba Yaga will pursue you, but you must lay your ear to the ground, and when you hear that she is close at hand, first throw down the towel. It will become a wide river, and if Baba Yaga gets across the river and tries to catch you, then you must lay your ear to the ground again, and when you hear that she is close at hand, throw down a comb, and it will become a dense forest. Through that, she won't be able to force her way anyway or anyhow." Yes, bravo. Yes. William, dentures alert. Run away. Last seen in dentures tub. Now missing. Oops, Eric. They're after you. Missing chompers. Alert, alert, red alert. Red alert. um, you got to figure out where I was at now. Okay. The girl took the towel and the comb and fled. The dogs would have rent her, but she threw the rolls and they let her go. The doors would have begun to bang, but she poured oil on the hinges and they let her pass through. The birch tree would have poked her eyes out, but she tied a ribbon around it and it let her pass on. And the cat sat down to the loom and worked away. Muddled everything about if it didn't do much weaving, but came to Baba Yaga, but up came the Baba Yaga to the window and asked, "Are you weaving, niece? Are you weaving, my dear?" "I am weaving, dear aunt. I am weaving," gruffly replied the cat. The Baba Yaga rushed into the hut and saw the girl was gone, and took to beating the cat and abusing it for not having scratched the girl's eyes out. "Long have I served you," said the cat. "You have never given me so much as a bone, but she gave me bacon." It is. Yeah, I did, Roxanne. Yeah, bacon is definitely a good offering. Um, then Baba Yaga pounced upon the dogs, on the doors, and the birch tree, and on the servant maid, and set to work to abuse them all, and to knock them about. Then the dog said to her, long as we've served you, you've never given us a pitch so much as pitch us a burnt crust, but she gave us rolls." Yeah, I like bacon too. Bacon, 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 bacon. And the door said, "Long have we served you. You've never poured even a drop of water on her hinges, but she poured oil on us." The birch tree says, "Long have I served you. You've never tied a single thread around me, but she fastened a ribbon around me." And the servant maid said, "Long have I served you. You've never given me so much as a rag, but she gave me a handkerchief." Baba Yaga, bony of limb, quickly jumped into her mortar, sent it flying along the pedestal, sweeping away the trail of all traces of its flight from the broom, and set off in pursuit of the girl. Then the girl put her ear to the ground, and when she heard the Baba Yaga was chasing her and was now close at hand, she flung down the towel, and it became such a wide river. Up came Baba Yaga to the river, and gnashed her teeth with spite. She went home for an ox and drove them to the river. The ox drank up the river, every drop of the river, and then Baba Yaga began to pursue anew. But the girl put her ear to the ground again, and when she heard that Baba Yaga was near, she flung down the comb, and instantly a forest sprang up, such as awfully thick one. The Baba Yaga began to gnaw away at it, but however hard she worked, she couldn't gnaw her way through it. So she had to go back again. But by the time the girl's father had returned home, and he asked, "Where's my daughter?" "She's gone to her aunt's," replied the stepmother. Soon afterward, the girl herself came running home. "Where have you been?" says her father. "And why are you out of breath?" The stepmother turned yellow when she saw her, and her eyes glowed, and her teeth ground together until they broke. But the little girl was not afraid, and she went to her father and climbed onto his knee and told him everything, just as it had happened. And when the old man knew that the stepmother had sent his little daughter to be eaten by the Baba Yaga, he was so angry that he drove her out of the hut, and ever afterwards lived alone with the little girl. It was much better for the both of them. You're having a bacon sandwich now? So you're kind of seeing here again. Yeah, she was. She's depicted as being an aunt to a stepmother. She is very helpful to those that want to cause harm and evil to someone, and is very evil to the ones that want to, or that are kind of positive. So, what is this? Is this Christianity trying to depict her as being an evil creature? Or is this how she actually is? We're seeing kind of that mixture in these stories when it's talking about this. And once again, magic's what helps them get away. Gumming the bacon sandwich, or did the dentures come back home? We're kind of seeing this repetitive thing coming with the Baba Yaga. So yeah, she is being depicted as being helpful, but only once. In all three of the stories was she helping somebody that wasn't intent on evil. FYI, currently there are almost 50 UFO, UAP, and nuclear high-level officials missing in civilian and military aspects of involvement and whistleblowers. No kidding, William. Things are fixing to come to light. So some of these things that the Baba Yaga has been known in modern day pop culture is, Baba Yaga remains a frequent reference in contemporary media. John Wick's Kevin Reeves' character is nicknamed Baba Yaga by his enemies, interpreted as the boogeyman or the one you send to kill the boogeyman. Video games, she is a playable character in Smite and the central figure in Rise of the Tomb Raider, Temple of the Witch expansion. So you can see how she's reached even modern cultures. Trying to get back to that chant real quick. Oh, come on. Come on. Hello. Why are you acting up? Yeah, I haven't heard Baba Yaga being good much. No, there's only that one story, and usually most of the other times that she's kind and helpful to those that wish to do evil or harm to somebody else. If I could ever track down the original telling, which she ain't known as the Baba Yaga in the original telling, but there it goes. This is that chant I was trying to remember earlier. If for some reason my computer's lagging bad, so there it is. Minutes to our podcast and seconds to our podcast. Also did some checking. They are all in highly sensitive SAP projects. Exposure's coming, man. Exposure's coming. But so that makes you wonder. You have to question: is this the same as other things? The church demonized it when it wasn't. The entity originally wasn't of evil intentions, or is this one truly evil? Because we know some of these things they're pure evil, like William and I was talking about this morning. Sometimes things are manifested that way because of our actions. Is that's what's going on here? Yeah. It has, hasn't it, Roxanne? Oh man, how long have we been doing that, Joe? We've been doing it for a couple of years now. Oh, hello, hello. Come here, come here. Come here. Hello. Yeah, that's my ear. That's my ear. Yes, hello. I missed you too. You've been locked up in the room. I know, I know. Yes, you just come in from being outside, huh? Oh, now there's Boar, jealous Boar. What? You are jealous. Hello, come here. Yeah. That's, huh?
May 21st through 26th, I'm going to Branson.
Okay.
Will you be able to watch her and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be able to take care of her. I don't think she'll be too much of an issue. She's up my butt enough as it is.
I can leave T-Mobile out in the outside cage, but you gotta check on him frequently.
I'll pee on him.
No, don't pee on him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, almost 2 years. Sorry. My daughter and her dog had to come in, and her dog, every time she sees me, he's got to love up all over me. Little puppy. I'm still trying to manifest $1 billion, but nothing. So, yeah, you and me both, bro. Maybe you need to go to the Baba Yaga. Oh, you don't like dentures? I mean, if I get dentures, I want the permanent ones. I've been lucky so far. I've been saving my teeth. I just went through and got my teeth all descaled. That was a 2-day process. But it's like it's curiosity, because I mean we've heard the same stuff happen with the Native American folklore and mythology, Greek. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff. Things get demonized when they're not supposed to be demonized. I'm trying to think of a good example of one off the top of my head. You just need some bacon. That's right. I can't think of a more notable one that's been demonized that doesn't actually. Oh, no kidding. That sucks, Roxanne. What do you guys think? You guys think she's a helper? Or do you think she only helps people that want to do evil and harm? What's your guys' opinion on hearing the 3 stories about her? Hey, main house. Man, my computer's lagging bad. She's a woman, depends on her mood. Figures you'd say something like that, Roxanne. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was important to put these stories in there and read them to you, because this is really, these are the original tellings of the Baba Yaga. That's why I think it's important. You don't want to just go in and read what people say about her. You want to hear it from the horse's mouth itself, and that's what these 3 stories are. These 3 stories were from the horse's mouth about the Baba Yaga. But like we said earlier too, there's been mentionings of her pre 17th century, or 17th century. Brandon says she's a witch, so she can be both good and bad, but the good may come with a price. Bacon, absolutely. If you noticed, anytime when she was when Vasilis was needing to do a task in order for her to do something good, which is something you hear quite often with these entities like this. And luckily she had that magical doll from her late mother to aid her in these tasks. Otherwise, she would become food for Baba Yaga. If you can't, that's the old adage, the troll under the bridge. Answer my riddle or I'll eat you. Same concept here. Answer, do these tasks or I'll eat you. It's that way across the board with a lot of these. That's why it makes me wonder if it wasn't demonized, because it fits very similar to other stories we've heard about. What doesn't come with a price in this world? Yeah. Yeah. So, when we do a part 2 to this one here, I'm going to have to. I've got to dig some more. This is ended up being. It sounds like a shriek to me. Oh, did you hear T-Mobile the chicken? Oh, it sounds like Shrek to me. Yeah, it does. You know, but I mean, like I said, this is very, very similar to all the rest of the stuff. So I mean, it's curiosity, but trying to dig up the true history on her, it's hard. I'm going to have to try to reach somebody over in Russia or one of the Slavic nations to see if I can't get something earlier. The kitty's giving me kitty kisses again, Roxanne. You know, meow meow, meow meow meow, meow 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 meow. Yeah, it. I'm curious. Dude. Oh, your claws, dude. Your claws. Gentle, gentle. You're too excited. Calm down. Calm, calm, calm. Yes, hello, buddy. I know you're jealous because I held Chimera at 9. Stopa. Calm yourself. All right, you not listening, so you don't get up there. Meathead. 9. 9. Calm yourself. Quit being so jealous. Sorry, he gets very jealous if I pay attention to another animal besides him. He's such a meathead. Love that dog. Can I pet that dog? If I get to howling or I just scream out of the blue out of nowhere, he comes running up checking on me. I get to whining or whimpering, he does it too. He's like, "What's going on? What's going on? I'm here. I'm here." He's very protective. He's pretty good when I'm here, but if I'm not here, he wants to rip your face off. I mean, he's a very good dog. He's just a meathead. Yeah, I'm talking about you. So, I took German in school for an alternative language school. Yeah, that was actually Norse. Night in German. Sometimes I'll let German slip because they're very, very similar. In German, no is 9, where in Norse it's 9. In German, stop is stoppe, where in Norse is stoppa. So sometimes I mix them up quite often, but it's like a Yank talking to a Southerner. They're all Germanic, and that's why the language is very similar. It literally is like a Yank talking to a Southerner. But that's why the languages are very, very close. That's why when the Danes had taken over most of England, they were able to talk to the Saxons because the language was very similar. They had to figure out their version of the dialect versus theirs. That was the only hiccup, but they was able to communicate back and forth because of that. That's something people didn't know. Your Saxons and all them, they were Germanic tribes. Your Swedes, your Danes, your Norse, your um, uh, Finns and all them. They were all Germanic tribes. Cain, Kaniskui, yeah. Katzenkusi. Is that? I can't remember how to say that. King Katzenkusi. No. Kosi. Man, it's been a while. So the languages are scrambled in your mind. Yeah, they do. No cat kisses. Man, I get cat kisses every time I come on live. Irish and Swedish mostly. I'm Cherokee, Comanche, Lakota, German, Irish, Swedish, Scottish, Norse, and Dane. Most of my bloodline is Norse and Dane, mainly Norse. But the Danes controlled most of Russia, Ireland, Scotland, England, most of them places, they had very, very strong hold in there, controlled most of it. So that's why when you get the mixed bloods together, it's probably from the same bloodline because of the multiple intermarrying. We are. Absolutely. We are. You are correct, Bravo. There ain't been a purebred race on this planet for a very long time. Very long time. Oh, you used Google to translate. Yeah, I've heard that term before, and I was trying to remember how to pronounce it. Hey, uncivil. And that's another thing too. I mean, that's actually I'm glad we're talking about that. My cat loves Eric when he hears his voice. She comes running in and watches while I hold her cat kisses back in the arms. Heck yeah, man. Haven't those oh yeah. I've never done one of those ancestry deals either. I was in touch with a professor in London for quite a few years when I was tracing my bloodline back. And the English side of my bloodline actually comes from the Norse and the Dane when they controlled, because they were lords of Oxfordshire, England during the time of Dane law. My bloodline traces back to Ivar the Boneless. And Ivar the Boneless was the king of Ireland and parts of Scotland, along with parts of England. So the Irish and the Scottish and the English very well could have came from that because, my family controlled it. When the three brothers came here to the U.S., they came through the Carolinas there. That's where the name Testament came from. Before then, we were Testar, Testament, Tester, and Testermin. Yep, the no spelling with a K threw me off because common it said nine, like you used to spell you got the conquistador and the Aztec if I remember correctly, Roxanne. I'm from the tribe of Dan. Like when I write about Grimson, people don't know back before they had last names. Your last name was what you were to your parents. There's a river in Wales with the name with my name on it. Oh, that's cool, man. Eric isn't Scottish Irish, only Scottish who went to Ireland. Yes, the Scots and the Irish are cousins. Yes. But back then, they didn't have last names. So, my sperm donor is a brewer, but his name is Jim. So, in all actuality, back then, my name would be Eric Jimson, Jim's son, Jimsson. That's how the last name was, and he was known by that until you earned a nickname. I was Hallberg, Hazelberg. Now it's Hellberg, but I don't know much of either side of the family. Yeah, Towie is my surname. There you go. I think I might know a couple Towies. My multi great grandfather was a captain. Delgado. Was Captain Delgado. Cool. Yeah, my Scottish Irish family name is Simpson. Hell yeah! But so when you break down, let's break down Grimson's name. Grimson's name is spelt like this for a reason. I mean, this is his name right there, and what that means is he is the son of Grim. So the spelling is Grim son. But most of my relations are American. Figured that one out. Yeah. So that's what that name actually Grimson means, son of Grim, Grim's son. So when you're saying it, it actually is spelled like this. and you just combine them together to get Grim Son. So it's Grim's son. That's actually how you say his name. And so when you just tie them together to Grim's son, but how you pronounce it is Grim's son. So like we'll take Roxanne for instance, or let's say her daddy is Stein. She would be known as Roxanne Stein's daughter. So, in her last name would actually look like this. Stein's daughter, which actually, when you say it, it would be if you're saying it like this. That's how you pronounce that name. But her last name would actually be spelled Stein's daughter, which is said Stein's daughter. Now, in book 3, Revenge of the Wendigo, Grimson actually gives his true name. Grimson's not his true name, but he actually gives his true name in book 3 when I get it finished. I went ahead and that's a little egg for you guys. In book 3, you'll find out what Grimson's true name is. My dad's full name was Tavino Delgado. Never looked at it like that. Now I'm going to be looking for that in name. Yep. That was pre-names. Now you'll find people with names like this right now. And that's because they just accepted that. Thorgrim sounds Icelandic. Thorgrim is a very popular Nordic name. Nice. I was reminded of the character in Conan the Barbarian named Thorgrim, who was the son of Tulsa Doom's Raiders. Yep. So if you see someone's last name that says Bryanson, that's a common name. That's actually an old Nordic name, means Bryan's son. And they, instead of getting a new one like Testerman, they just kept that as their last name. So the child that was Brian's son, he took that as a surname, and from then on, every bit of his lineage from then on kept that name. That's actually an old Nordic last name describing where they came from. So, like Björn Ironsides. Before he was Björn Ironsides, he was Björn Ragnarsson, Ragnar's son. Until he earned the name Ironside. And that's when he was known as Björn Ironside. Ivar the Boneless was known Ivar Ragnarsson before he earned the name Ivar the Boneless. So until they earned their nickname, they're known as whatever their father's name is. He's the son of this, the daughter of this. She's the daughter of Stein's daughter, Roxanne Stein's daughter. Roxanne is the daughter of Stein. She is Stein's daughter. Okay, if a Nordic Grimace and Nordic Hamburglar got married, what would their name be? So who's the male and who's the female? Name my dad's side is from Mexico, the Jalisco. Yeah. So in that, if Grimace was the father, it'd be Björn Grimason or Hamburglarson. If it was a daughter, it'd be Grimace daughter or Hamburglar's daughter. Helberg is of a Scandinavian origin, driven from Old Norse, meaning rock mountain or stone hill. Had to look it up. Yep, there you go. Eric, I think the actor's name is Seven Ol Thorson. Thorson. Yep. In the old days, that had been spelled Thorson, means the son of Thor. He's from Norway or one of the countries close to there. Yeah. So in the traditional way, back in the old days, it had been spelled like this. which means they just changed it up since doing the last name, and that's why it's been shortened. And the only thing is shortened on is they took one S out of it. I have a cousin named Chunquita, like the bananas, Consuela Eaton. We call her Keta for short. Heck yeah. Seven Thorson. That name sounds familiar. I might know him from some of the movies. You said he's an actor? Yeah, he's an actor. I might know him from some movies I watched. Gatto's main, it means slim or skinny. Yep. See, and when they started doing last names, whatever your profession was became your last name. Why there's so many Smiths? Because there was a lot of blacksmiths back then, so they took the name Smith. When last names became a priority, I think it was around the medieval ages when they started actually giving people last names. So if you was a blacksmith or some type of smithy, your last name would have been Smith. Testerman means tester of men. That's where that name came from. Same as Testard, Testament, and Testermen. We were known as the tester of men. We were instructors, trainers. So that's where that name came from. It means tester of men. So, hey, have a good one, William. A lot of times that's where your last name came from. But see, like Simpson, you was talking about Simpson earlier. In the old days, that would have been spelled like this, meaning that. Oh, that's right. Okay, yes. Thank you, Uncivil. But in the old days, that's how Simpson would have been spelled. Oops. I put an extra O in there. Yep. That is actually what my last name means, the tester of men. We were trainers. We were teachers, scholars, trainers. Like many Arnold Schwarzenegger movies with him because they knew each other well. Seven was a powerful power lifter. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I love history. I love history. So, more so on the English side is where you get the Smiths and stuff like that. Oh, you guys are welcome. Yeah, my name means keeper of dogs, wolfhounds, and wolf killers. There you go. Yep. So it's an interesting, and I mean I learned. I remember back in grade school they were teaching us this. This is how I got my start on learning this stuff. Because in grade school we had to do a report on our last name and what it meant and where it came from. My family sigil. It's funny you think about it now. It's funny as hell. But back in the old days when these things were made, um, this character in my sigil meant a lot of power. They were nobility. If I can get it to pop up here. I might not got to do another update. No wonder it's lagging. I just did an update yesterday. Why the hell do I got to do an update again? It's not popping up. It's lagging too much. Oh, there it goes. I'm starving. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I ate before I came on live. I had leftovers from last night, so that was dinner tonight. It was leftovers. It's taking forever to load. But mine's actually a red rooster. That's my family crest. Is a red rooster. I don't know if I can get it to work on my phone or not. Pea chops, taters, and French green beans. Oh, yeah. No, that's not the one. Give me multiple ones but mine. Let's see if it'd be on this one here. You know, I was talking to one of my relatives, one of my kinfolk in the Appalachians, and he was asking me about our family history. And he disagreed with me on everything on family history because he said that Google AI told him that wasn't true. I said, well, you could look on your search. If you're going to believe Google AI over a guy that's done research and was talking to actual people from that land, good, Bob's your uncle, man. Good luck to you. Oh, I was wrong. Why did I think it was a rooster? Oh, I must have been one of my other family members. One of my other family ones must have been the rooster. It's actually the griffin. It's a red griffin. Yeah, right there. That's my family crest. Thought it was a red rooster. That might have been one of my other family members or somebody else's I was looking up. Mine's actually a red griffin. Um, Give me 1 second here. See if I can shut that off for a second. There you go. Yep. That's the red griffin. That's my family crest. Oh. Huh. It's not giving me back my hoo-ha. I'll have to find it. That's weird. Oh well, I'll worry about it later. Yep, that's my family crest. The red griffin. The surname was first found in Oxfordshire, where the name was more often not thought to have been derived from the early French baptism name Testard, which is found in the pipe rolls. Not all the family immigrated to England, as William Testard was listed in Normandy. Uh, ooh, there you go. I thought I felt one crawling on me. Oh, no, you don't, buddy. Uh-uh. You try to drink my blood, I got something for you. I'm not a Saxon. Nope. Yep. Nope. The oldest I've been able to trace my family name back to was to Ivar the Boneless. That's the furthest I've been able to trace it back. Yours family crest has 2 gold lions and a tree and a boot. Oh wow. So nope, I'm not a Saxon. Well, I mean, guess actually, I guess in some ways, Bravo, I could be because my family did come from England, and the Saxons controlled most of the England. They took it from the Brite. People thought that Britain was the actual name of the land. That was wrong. Britannia was the name that the Romans gave Britain. It was actually called Brite by the Celts, or Pertae by the Celts. See, a lot of people don't realize, like, I'm writing a book on a very famous person from history, and the story that we've been told about this person is actually false. That was we were raised on the Christian version of the story and not the actual true story. I wonder why it's not giving me my little hands and stuff back. That's kind of irritating. So the book the historical fiction book that I'm working on, the People Sentinel Soldiers Ascent. That's the first book in that series. I got a hold of the oldest telling of this individual, which actually comes from Wales. The Wales were the first people to ever mention this gentleman's name, and up until he became the the name just slipped my mind here for a second. It's a Roman name, but they used it. Deluxe Balorum of Pertany. They never mentioned his name. It wasn't actually until after he became the Deluxe Balorum of Pertany while fighting the Saxons, the Picts, and the Scots. It was when actually they mentioned his name for the first time. But everywhere else before then, like in my book, so in the book I had to give him a name because they don't mention his name. But everything that is talked about in there is actually from the original telling of this character. So I love history, man. I really do. And I don't want to give the book away because I want people to read it. But I'm hoping to see people's reactions when they read this book when I'm done with it. Roxanne might be able. Roxanne can tell you a little bit, how it's going. But it's very interesting. This individual's history, true history, is extremely interesting. He was known for fighting giants and werewolves and supernatural creatures and stuff like that. He was known to fight them. That's how he became famous. That's how he became a Deluxe Balorum. Was fighting them things, and he was fighting Picts and Scots and Saxons. And what's interesting was some of the stuff that he was fighting was actually mentioned in the last diary entry of another historical fiction I'm working on of the Legios Nines Hispana. And what happened to them? They described that Pilus, um, anyways, the Pilus Palus that wrote the last journal entry described in detail. Could be Bravo, I don't know. Described in detail what was attacking them, and it was shortly after that when Caesar Hadrian built the wall, Hadrian's Wall in northern England, and from that area, we get this individual, which happened several hundred years. I think somewhere between 100 or 300 years after Rome left is where he came about. Or it was sometime around when Rome left Britain. I can't remember verbatim on it. But later on in history, when Christianity took over Britannia, that's when this character became known as a king of God, and he was never a king of God. He never knew about God. He was a Celt. But I don't know. That's a good theory, Bravo. I guess we'll have to see how the book comes out. There's been many famous kings throughout history. At the Catholic Church has twisted to or the Vatican has twisted to their will, I guess you can say. So, we're at 2 hours. Anybody got any questions on the Baba Yaga? Like I said, I want to have to do a part 2 because I believe she is known by other names in other cultures, because there's other cultures that talk about a very similar character. So we're going to kind of dive into that too. I just got a lot more research ahead of me to do. This one was mainly focused on the Baba Yaga from Slavic mythology, because that is what she's well known as, is the Baba Yaga. I don't know, Roxanne. Should I give them a little teaser on that book? Roxanne's one of my Ahinyar readers, so she's read it, what I've done to it so far. Okay. Let me get it pulled up. I'm thinking I might just do the prologue. I don't know. Prologue might be too revealing. I don't know. We'll probably do the prologue. Let's see. That's the author's note. Hello, dear readers. It is my pleasure and honor to bring to you the life of a man who climbed from the ashes of their overseers to a man of history. There is a famous person. There's a famous person from our history we have been told was someone that he was not. Let us take a look at the truth about this man. Let me take you back to a time when Rome left the land and opened it up to new conqueror. But I will talk more about this later. Let us begin, shall we? There was a king of Britain long ago known as King Vortigern. He had been battling the Picts and the Scots. Their fight was not going his way. The pressure of the fights weighed heavily on him, and he made a decision that would forever change Britain. He reached out to Hengist, the leader of the Saxons, for aid, and he did not know, but Hengist was planning on conquering Britain, and he used this to begin his conquest. By the time King Vortigern discovered this plot, it was too late. Now he found himself in yet another fight. The walls were crumbling in around him, and there seemed to be no hope in sight. Let me tell you about a battle at the battle at Egilsthorpe. This was a battle that was set everything into motion. The battle at Egilsthorpe battle is also known as Aylesford, occurred in 455 AD. Hengist and Horus had set up a settlement in Kent at the request of King Vortigern. This was payment for their aid against the Picts and the Scots. This agreement did not last long, as soon King Vortigern was engaged in battle at Aylesford. However, the result of the battle is lost to the sands of time. King Vortigern and his men killed Horsa after the battle. Hengist ruled over the portion of Kent. Our story takes place in a time after this battle. The invasion of the Saxons had begun, and the legend is born from the moment. Is born from this moment. Let us begin. I would know more because it's something I haven't really done. I'd like to know more because it's something I haven't really dug into. This is a very interesting character. So I had to use some author's embellishment on this because they don't really talk about him a whole lot in the beginning. So this first book is going to be both author's embellishment and also the history of this guy. Another channel on YouTube that should help you out in your research. The Kingdom of Law. Fortress of Law. Sorry, not Kingdom. No worries. Yeah, I'm working on 2 historical fictions right now. The character, you will not believe who it is. Yeah, in my book, his name is Ivar because, like I said, they didn't give his name, but Ivar was a common name back in them times for the Britanni. So they don't tell how he became into the service to become a spearman. But to my understanding, the Welsh were the most influenced by Roman, and when Saxons took over, the Welsh were successful enough to defense that they kept their sovereignty. The Scottish also later on. Yes, we'll hear a little bit about that in this book. But the Welsh are the very first civilization to ever talk about this individual. So when I was researching this individual, I was researching it from their tellings. Like in part of chapter 1 here, day after day, they train for war. They bleed sweat and build their muscles. All this is done in hopes of glory and reputation. For these things are won in the places of that men meet, in the places where the smell of ale and fetid meat takes your breath away, and the man across from them is trying to spill their life force upon the ground, to be soaked in and never found. Such is the life of a warrior, and more so for a warrior's of reputation. Most here are training to become such a warrior, fighting for a king who brings them food and warm beds. And in time where there is very little, with the constant pressure from the Picts, Scots, and now the Saxons. To be a king's warrior commands respect from all beneath them or beneath you, but the path to that respect is hard earned. All you have to do is return for this generosity is respect is to lay your life on the line for your oath and your king to your king. The young lads are being drilled hard by the experienced warriors. The ones who have already gained their reputation do not go easily on the beginners. Ivar is one such beginner. He is a spearman for the king. The Saxons betrayed King Vortigern, and now there was a desperate need for warriors. This is how Ivar came in to be in his service. Ivar was an orphan and happened to sneak into the service of the king when the new recruits had already been selected. With the number of recruits that there were being now brought in, he was able to sneak in without swearing an oath. He was starving and cold. This is what led him to take such a drastic move, for he knew that if he could pull this off, his belly would be full and he would be warm, would have a warm bed to sleep in. All was working out as planned until spring arrived. And I'll leave it off there. That's 2 paragraphs of chapter 1. Oh man, Roxanne, a bunch of them. A bunch of them. Yes, since different languages in the UK. Exactly, Bravo. Yep. You had the Britanni, and you had the Saxons, you had the Scots, and you had the Picts. And that's why their dialect is different. Their pronunciations are different. It depends on what part of England you come from, or Britain you came from. But the name Britain actually comes from the Roman name Britannia, which was what Rome called that island. They couldn't say Britannia, so they called it Britannia. So that's just a small taste of that one there. What actually I found this telling when I was researching the ninth Legios Hispana, and what happened to them, most famously known as the Lost Legion. They disappeared in England without a trace. When I was doing research on that, is when I came across this. Okay, thank you, Roxanne. But when I was researching for that book, which is called the Ninth Legios Hispana, The Lost Legion is the name of that book. That's when I came across this from Wells, because it's actually all tied together. I never realized that throughout history. I never realized how these two things are tied together. I never knew it. So that's why it takes so long for me to write on some of these, especially on historical fictions, because I'm constantly trying to get information. And I wish that professor was still around in London, because he was extremely helpful when I was younger, and we would email back and forth constantly. But sadly, he's passed on. But he's what really helped me trace my bloodline back, and he would have been a really good help on my research for this stuff. But I'm sure most of you guys have heard about the Lost Legion. And if you haven't, let's look up the Lost Legion of Britannia, and that's the legion we're talking about, the Ninth Legios Hispana. They literally vanished without a trace fighting the Picts. The Welsh landscape is very hospitable to outsiders in itself. Yeah. Yep. The only people that really ever gave them a run for the money and conquered them to a point was the Nordic people. Up until the Nordic people, the Welsh had never been conquered. The Saxons couldn't do it. The Romans couldn't do it. The Saxons couldn't do it. But the Nordic people. Yep. Vikings that's a very big misunderstanding on Sybil. Vikings are pirates. Okay, so you are either a Drenger, which is a warrior. You practice Dringskapi, which is the warrior's code, or you were a Vikinger, which is where the word Viking comes from. Vikinger means you're a pirate, a raider. So some people may go out and go a Vikinging, which means you're going out pirating or raiding. Most of your Nordic people were Drenger. They practice Dringskapi. In Ireland, they say castles were built on the doors, gaps to the underworld. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that a couple times. But yeah, they weren't known as Vikings. They were Norse, they were Dane, they were Swedish, Finnish. I mean, there were several different ones. But Viking, the actual meaning is you were a Vikinger or you're going out a Viking. Means you were going out to raid or pirate. Like a lot of monoliths, misidentified, they are not religious structures. Good, yeah, that is one of the leading theories, Bravo. Absolutely. So yeah, if anybody says, "Oh, they're Vikings," then they're calling them pirates and raiders. Obelisk, yep. Obelisk were actually, it's a very well prominent theory right now because of a lot of studies to prove the obelisk actually were energy, used for energy, either transporting or collecting energy from Earth. That's what obelisks were for. So we are past the 2 hour mark. For those of you still in here, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope this was kind of insightful. If you got questions later on, just hit me up in the chat and I'll try to answer as best as possible. I will be doing a part 2 to this at some point in time whenever I can get enough research gathered up on it, because I have noticed a lot of very similar characters throughout other mythologies and folklore that fit with the Baba Yaga. So I hope you guys can join me on William Nighthawk show next week. Campfire chats next Saturday. I don't know what Sunday show is going to be. I'm not on call no more. I won't be on call for another 5 weeks. They were known to do that. That's why it wasn't really well welcomed amongst the Dringer. You guys are welcome. To my new subscribers, my OGs, thank you so much for coming in and listening to me. I appreciate you guys so much. I value you guys' comments. So let me know in the comments what you guys think and how things are going. I did do a live on my members only. Nobody's short because nobody came in, but I've also on my members only have the new release of part 1 to the Orc and the Knight. So until next week, everybody, peace, love, and blessings to you all. Shout out to my mods, Roxanne, William, Corey. You guys were great. Thank you so much. Sorry the codes ain't working. I'm going to have to keep on working on those. But until next week, everybody, much love to you, and bye.
Shadows where whispers hum. The air is thick where the strange things come. Behind the curtain where the fearless go. Welcome to the bizarre and the unknown. Dare to tread where the darkness hides. The ground may quake, it's a risk you take when the unknown wakes. Your pulse will race, your breath will freeze in this realm of uncanny mysteries. Dare to tread where the darkness hides. Through the cracks of the world's thin sides. Join if you will take the dare. Where the bizarre wears a wicked grin. Its world pulls you slowly in.